countdown to Election Day, where state races across the country will offer a sense of how voters feel about President Trump and his administration and the Democratic Party as a whole. In Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger is leading Republican Winsome Earle-Sears, the lieutenant governor, by 14 points, according to a poll by YouGov. More than 1 million people have voted already, which is at a higher rate than in the 2021 election. And 376 miles north in New Jersey, the gubernatorial race could be very close, while a recent Quinnipiac poll has Democrat Mikey Sherrill 8 points ahead of Republican Jack Ciattarelli. A recent, Suffolk poll has Sherrill only 4 points ahead, and that lead is within the margin of error. In Pennsylvania, Democrats and their allies are pouring millions of dollars into a campaign to stop a late-emerging Republican effort to oust 3 Democratic justices in the state Supreme Court, spending in the race on track to exceed $15 million, showing just how critical the election is for the highest court in the largest presidential battleground. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin warned of the risks if the 3 justices are not retained, emphasizing that it would give Republicans the opportunity to threaten Pennsylvania's abortion rights and anti-gerrymandering rulings. Martin is also boosting his support for Zohran Mamdani in the New York City mayoral race. Though he only openly asked New Yorkers to vote for Mamdani a few weeks ago, he had previously congratulated Mamdani on his primary win in June. DNC Chair Ken Martin joins us now. Thank you very much, Chairman, for joining. You have quite a busy weekend, so we appreciate you making the time.
Absolutely.
When you look at the 3 races that we're really looking at, right, with the people, you have Abigail Spanberger, Mikey Sherrill, Zohran Mamdani. These are now possibly going to be leaders in the Democratic Party. What is the through line on the argument that they're making to voters?
Well, the through line for all 3 of them is they're focused on affordability. They're focused on making people's lives easier to live, whether it's in New York City or whether it's in Richmond, Virginia, or whether it's in Trenton, New Jersey. All 3 of those candidates are focused on economic issues, making sure people understand that it's the Democratic Party that best represents their opportunity to climb the economic ladder, to actually achieve the American dream, to actually get ahead, not just get by. And that's, there's all this hubbubaloo about, the Democratic Party, and what does it mean about Zohran's race in New York? Does it mean the party's going left? I mean, look at throughout
does it?
Well, no. I mean, look at throughout the country, right? We are a big tent party. We have all sorts of Democrats, conservative Democrats, centrists, progressives, and leftists. And I've always believed that you win through addition, not through subtraction, that this is the beauty of the Democratic Party, right? We need to find candidates who fit their districts and then support them. And at the end of the day, that's what you see, right? We're not like the Republicans where we, march lockstep and drum people out if they dissent or there's debate or there's differences of opinion. But let me say, the through line on all of our candidates running, and there's 100,000 local elections on the ballot this year that get missed, mayoralships, county board seats, school board seats.
School boards are very important, folks.
They are, that's
very
right.
Important.
But in all of those cases, people are focused on actually how do we improve people's lives. At a time when you have Donald Trump literally throwing, Great Gatsby parties while people are starving in this country, at a time when, people are getting kicked off of their health insurance and Donald Trump's focused on marble bathrooms in the White House. I mean, that shows you which party is focused, where their priorities are. Donald Trump is focused on his billionaires' friends and building ballrooms, and the Democrats are focused on actually improving your life.
But finding candidates and support who fit their district and supporting them, what you just said that you have encouraged others in the Democratic Party to do and that what the party needs to do. That is not what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have done when it comes to Zohran Mamdani. Hakeem Jeffries supported Mamdani, I think just last week it was, after avoiding and dodging an endorsement for several months. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has yet to do so. What is your response to that? And do you think that these 2 leaders have the vision and the ability to help modernize and rebuild the Democratic Party?
I can't speak for Chuck Schumer or for Hakeem Jeffries. They speak for themselves. I can speak for this Democratic Party at the end of the day.
Well, and you can speak for yourself.
Well, of course. How I led in Minnesota, I want to be very clear. In Minnesota, I always led a big tent party, right? We have all sorts of Democrats in Minnesota. I said this, in the 5th Congressional District, I have Ilhan Omar, who is a leftist and a friend of mine. Right next to her was Dean Phillips, a centrist, Democrat, a friend of mine. Right next to him for years was a guy named Colin Peterson, who is a Blue Dog Democrat. All 3 of them are important. Why are they important? Because while they represent widely different views, for sure, all 3 of them represent their district and all 3 of them win. I couldn't run Ilhan and Dean's district and win any more than I could run Dean and Ilhan's district and win.
Right.
This is the challenge for the Democratic Party. When we try to actually say there's one way or one stripe of being a Democrat, it ignores our history. It ignores who we are. I represented the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. We are a coalition. Now, let me just say this. I don't work for Chuck Schumer or for Hakeem Jeffries, right? I was elected to lead the Democratic Party, the largest institution in the Democratic ecosystem, and that's what I'm going to do.
But as a leader of the party, do you think that Schumer and Jeffries have the ability to rebuild and modernize the party and take the party forward?
I believe that they're going to do their best to help us win next November.
You talked a lot about the great state of Minnesota. You know I love Minnesota, being a graduate of Carleton College.
Yes.
But let's talk about New Jersey and the New Jersey race. Folks are focused on Virginia, and Abigail Spamberger's numbers are great. But as we showed in the New Jersey race, depending on the poll you're looking at, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, she's in a statistical dead heat, especially that Suffolk poll, which I want to point people at. It's within the margin of error, but the sample size is only 500. The poll where she's up by 8 points has a sample size of 1,100 people, so that's a little more reliable. But as a leader of the DNC, how concerned are you? Let me put it this way. Are you as concerned as I am, Mr. Chairman, that New Jersey might not be as much of a lock as it should be, especially given the fact that Donald Trump only lost New Jersey by less than 6 points, which was a shocker for a lot of people in the last presidential election?
Well, look, I'll just say this again, not to bring it back to Minnesota, but the reason I never lost a statewide election there is because I drowned out the noise. I didn't believe the polls. Whether there was a poll that was up or a poll that was down, I told everyone just ignore them. Keep your eyes focused on what we need to do in these final 3 days left in New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania, California, all throughout the country right now, and we'll put ourselves in a better chance to win. But let me just say this. We always knew that New Jersey was going to be close because of what you just said, right? Which is the Republican Party cut the presidential margin in New Jersey last year in 2024. Jack Ciattarelli only lost to Phil Murphy 4 years earlier by 3 percentage points, and the Republicans are feeling pretty bullish on their chances there. But everything we've seen, and I just got back last night from New Jersey. I was there for 3 days. I was in Pennsylvania 3 days before that. And I will tell you, the energy there is high. And what we're seeing, I was in Morris County kicking off a canvass the other day. Morris County is pretty red, right? And there were hundreds of people there. People had never been there before, volunteering, rolling up their sleeves, getting out there and knocking for Mikey and the rest of the ticket. That's the type of energy that's going to put us over the finish line. And again, in a day right now when people are suffering and they're feeling the economic squeeze, Jack Ciattarelli has not offered up any actual options to improve people's lives. And he's embraced Donald Trump to the detriment of New Jerseyans. That's why Mikey Sherrill is going to win, because she's been focused on the right message.
How much of the shutdown has impacted? You were just in New Jersey, you said. Are people talking about the shutdown? Is the shutdown a factor in this election?
Yeah, of course it is, right? People are anxious about what this means, not just for the people that are going to get kicked off of, nutrition benefits and off of their health care, but people know that, starting this week, they're going to get health insurance premiums, and almost every American is going to see, double-digit, maybe even triple-digit increases in their health insurance. People are anxious right now in this country, and they want someone to stand up and fight for them. And Jack Ciattarelli is not fighting for them. He's spending most of his time kissing Donald Trump's ass instead of actually standing up for New Jerseyans.
Okay, Minnesota. Cussing in the morning.
I've always said, Eugene, don't confuse Minnesota.
Exactly. I want to go up, down, wherever. I want to go to New York from New Jersey. There's an up, down, over. Thank you very much. I'm not good at geography. In New York, you have Zohran Mamdani. You're supporting him. Obviously, he's a Democrat there. But I want to read something that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis posted this week and get your reaction. He says, "Of course, I would rather Mamdani lose. As an American, I want our nation's largest city to do well. As a conservative, I want leftists to lose at the ballot box regardless of jurisdiction. But if NYC voters want to shoot themselves in the foot, I'm not going to sugarcoat the inevitable consequences." What it sounds like to me is that he is going to use Mamdani to color the entire Democratic Party as socialist, democratic socialists who X, Y, and Z, and he'll fill in the blank. How do you, as the leader of the Democratic National Committee, protect the rest of the party from attacks that DeSantis might have in trying to use any leftist or even a super conservative Democrat from coloring the entire party that way?
Well, what I would say is, let's give this guy some time to actually govern, right? When he wins on Tuesday, and then judge him on what he does while he's in
Well,
office.
DeSantis isn't going to wait to judge.
Well, sure, but let me say this. I mean, they're going to say that regardless. They've been saying for years that the Democratic Party is socialist, right? And so what I would say is this, at the end of the day, there's many different Democrats out there, and we have so many faces of the Democratic Party, and 3 of them right now are on the ballot this Tuesday. 3, the biggest names in our party, right? Mikey Sherrill, and of course Abigail Spanberger and Zoran Mamdani, and they all are different and unique in different ways. And again, that's the beauty of the Democratic Party. Look, I don't think this is what the Republicans thrive on. Is fear. And I understand the point you're trying to make, but let the guy govern first and then judge him.
What's the point that DeSantis is making? Just saying.
I hear you.
Ain't my point.
Democratic National Committee Chairman Ken Martin, thank you very much for coming to the weekend.
Really appreciate it.